This is a story that's been with me for a long time.
I felt like this was the role that you would play.
I think the film that you showed me at one point was a third part of the night, and the devil.
All of the love and the research that you put into it, I feel like, is what really makes you, you know, the only candidate to take this story on.
Come to me.
Hi everyone, we're the cast of Nosferatu, and we're going to be asking each other some questions. I'll start. Nicholas Hoult,
yes.
What attracted you to your role in Nosferatu?
It was daunting and scary, but then I was also just excited because I think Rob is kind of the perfect man to retell the story and reimagine it. So that was the most exciting thing, reading it, knowing that Rob was going to make it. I was like, mostly just excited. And then in terms of playing Thomas, I think, again, the thing that was probably most helpful was like the film education you gave me in the run-up to the shooting. I think the film that you showed me at one point was a third part of the night, and The Devil. Both those films I hadn't seen before and was like shocked by, but also they were brilliant films that just capture the feeling of what you were trying to capture with this movie, and a sense of the types of performance that Rob enjoyed. Because I've always loved like your performance in Rob's movies previously, and playing Thomas, he was a character that was. He was naive and wanted to prove himself and provide. He was a very doting husband, and unfortunately all of those things are kind of his downfall and cause chaos throughout this story. Does that answer the question?
Very well
Very
said.
well.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a devil in this world and I have met him.
Well, I think the question that they had for me was to ask you how your experience of working with Rob on Pretend He's Not Here.
So, I loved working with Rob, and not just because you're sitting right here, but when I first heard about, you know, this project, I remember thinking like, wow, there couldn't be a more perfect director to take on this story. And like, you know, I really mean that. I don't think that anybody could do this story justice in the way that you did because of everything about you as a director, but your attention to detail and, you know, your respect for the history and the time period, and just like, you know, all of the love and the research that you put into it, I feel like, is what really makes you the only candidate to take this story on. So I remember thinking, wow, that's gonna be so cool. I would love to be a part of that. I learned so much on set, honestly, because I feel like working with you and with Jaren as well in tandem, I feel like you guys have such a specific way of working together, and I think it's a testament also to your relationship and how long you've been working together and just how kind of symbiotic your relationship is. And so I feel like learning to work with Jaren's camera was like an experience that I've never had before. It was very specific in a way that I hadn't worked before, and I feel like learning to work within that frame was very educational for me and really amazing. And I feel like you have such a specific vision for what you want, and same, all of the references that you sent me that I watched and everything, getting to kind of immerse myself in the kind of performances that you love and that were inspiring to you for this film and everything was very cool and daunting as well, because I was like, oh my God, all of these are so good. I hope that I can do something cool too. But it was an experience that, you know, unlike anything I've ever had. It was very cool.
Standing before me was death. But I'd never been so happy.
Get to ask the elephant in the room question, sort of. Why? Why did you want to make a film of this story?
That's a good question. I mean, yeah, I think this is a story that's been with me for a long time. I've always been into Dracula, and for whatever reason, I was attracted to. I saw an image of Max Schreck as Orlok in a book when I was like 8 or 9, and wanted to see the movie. And I like acquired a VHS of it, and you know, it was like grainy and poor quality, but it had a kind of extra magic to it, and it felt like, you know, the vampire was real, almost like a found footage horror movie. And also the way Murnau kind of made it just a simple fairy tale was also really exciting. And then when I was in high school, I did a senior directed play with my friend Ashley Kelly Tata. That play was seen by a local theater impresario, invited me to do a more professional version of it at his theater. And that's what made me know, like, I wanted to direct as an adult. So something that's I've carried with me for a long time. I had to write a novella when I was writing the script in order to like figure out how to make the story my own and make it actually worth telling again. Whether, you know, it's exciting to me, you know, it still needs to go somewhere else, and I hope it has.
You're going to make that novella available to us?
It's very poorly written, but my agent would love to have it out there.
This creature is a force more powerful than evil. Its desire is to consume all life on Earth.
Willem, how did this, because we have worked together, how was this different or not?
Well, you know, every film, your job is different. The people are basically the same, and the way of working is sort of the same because you have a very definite way of working. Yeah, it's colored by your function in the overall plan, you know. How much do you have to drive? How much do you have to react? How much are you color? You know, that's what you always look at. I don't think we talk about that enough as actors, that acting isn't one thing. It's always changing. So every time you do something, you have to say, what is this world? How do I melt into it? How do I serve this world? How do I become engaged? If I felt like this was the role that you would play if you were going to be in this movie. Because Rob is an actor as well, you know? And I'm right? So I thought of you, and it was basically concentrate on what kind of man this could be. And then once I come into the story, it's really about finessing my relationship with all the different people, because I'm put in this tough place of pursuing what I think is important, but also kind of placating these people and being accepted. So there's lots to play. But as always, this was special, just like Northman was special, but all separate things. Rob, I think my earliest film experiences were kind of exclusively with horror movies. And I wasn't a kid that, you know, watched a lot of movies. I was more doing sports and things. I wasn't like a kid sitting in a dark room. All my movie experiences were horror films. That was what brought me to performance, and I like the fantastical quality and kind of the size of the characters of horror movies. Yeah. So this is all a good world to work in.
I'm ready.